Okay, so you probably guessed it. We're going to do another watch review. This is my 6-watch case that I also did a review on previously. Just search my channel Watch, W-A-T-C-H, and you'll see my various watch reviews and so forth. A couple of watches I still haven't gotten to, but I will, I promise. But this next watch I'm going to talk about has, for all practical purposes, made most of my other watches obsolete. There are a few that I will still wear from time to time, but the watch that I'm going to show you now is my daily wear watch. Gets most of my wrist time. It has just put all these other watches to the back burner. And this is that watch. And I'm going to take it off wrist and go through it in detail, but I wanted you to see it first on wrist. Okay, and now I'm going to get these other watches out of the way and we'll talk a little bit about this watch. Okay, first let me tell you what this model is. It's nicknamed the Shogun, model number SBDC007. It has a 6R15 automatic movement, I believe Japanese made. It is a 200 meter rated watch. It's made of titanium. And as far as I can tell, it's a 42 millimeter case. It wears smaller than that. It's very, very comfortable. 120 click bezel. It's Diashield Titanium, spelled D-I-A-S-H-I-E-L-D Titanium, which is very scratch resistant. It has drilled lugs. It has a signed crown, 22 millimeter bracelet. So it is a fantastic watch. And there's a gentleman that did a review named Mario, and I'll spell his last name, S-Q-U-I-L-L-A-C-I-O-T-I, and he said that this watch has basically made all his other watches obsolete, and I have to agree. This is the most comfortable wearing watch that I have ever owned, and as you know, I've owned quite a few very nice wristwatches, and I'm getting up there in the years, and so I like to wear a watch that's very easy to read the time from a distance without reading glasses, and this watch handles that. The hands are very large. The crystal does a good job of resisting reflections. You do get them at some angles, but it's very readable. The hands, some people have criticized the hands because they look a lot like the Monster hands on the Monster watch, which is a less expensive watch. By the way, this watch retails for anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 depending on where you look at it, and I've heard they're discontinued and they won't be making any more, so they might start getting harder to find. But it is just a gorgeous piece of work on this titanium, and it looks more like stainless steel than titanium. It's got a little more grayish look than some of my stainless steel watches, but most people would look at this and would think that it is stainless steel. It's got that look, and I'm not sure how they did this process on this watch to get this look, but they sure did. And it's exceptionally comfortable. Some have complained that the band is cheap feeling, that it's too lightweight for this watch. It is very light because it's titanium, and it is thin. You can see here it is lightweight because it is titanium, and it's a little bit on the thin side, but that to me is what makes this watch so comfortable to wear as a daily wear watch. I have watches where the bands are much bulkier, much heavier. I'm even going to show you another Seiko if I have time in this review that meets all of those criteria, but it's just not as comfortable to wear as this watch. And being titanium, I'm sure this is all going to be very strong and it's going to hold up. Now the weak point on these watches, as far as I'm concerned, is the pins that go through these links to hold the links together, and the same pin that you push out to adjust the size of the band. That's where the weak link is going to be, not the thickness of this titanium. So those pins are usually the same diameter on these so-called heavy-duty watches with the heavier bands. So if something's going to fail, it's going to be that weak point anyway, in my opinion. So this is going to be very strong. And also the pin that holds the band to the case, those are typically the same size and the same construction, even if you have a much heavier band. So that's going to be the weak point that's going to give way. These are solid end links of titanium, so that's not going to give way. It's going to be the pin, in my opinion. So I think it's overhyped to have these so-called heavy-duty bands because, again, it's going to be the weak link that's going to fail, not the actual titanium of the links. So it's just food for thought. Now, on some of my heavier bands, they've got screws holding them together that are larger. And in that case, yes, maybe that will be stronger, but again, you've got the pin holding it to the case that is typically the same size on all of these. So it is just food for thought. Extremely comfortable. I think it's a very attractive watch. Some people say it looks a lot like a Rolex Submariner. It does have a lot of those cues to the design, but let's face it, the Rolex was a very well designed watch, so that's not really a bad thing from a standpoint of comfort on the wrist. This watch runs about 5 seconds a day fast, which as it settles down, I've only had it a week. As it settles down, I'm sure it'll probably settle down to a little less than that, but even 5 seconds a day is very acceptable. I'd much rather have a watch run fast than slow because it's so easy to unscrew the crown, pull it out, stop the second hand, and then push it back in and recalibrate it very easily. Plus, if it's running fast, you're not going to be late for an appointment. You're going to be early, which is better than being late. So all in all, I know I'm rambling a little bit here. I really love the watch. Let me show you how this works. It's just simple, like a lot of Seikos. And again, very easy clasp to operate, yet extremely secure. That's not going to accidentally come open on you. And I've been wearing this for a week, solid, in all kinds of uses, and it's held up very well. So I'm going to show you another option, which I did a review on this other watch. This is a kinetic scuba watch. This is also a Japanese market only watch, but you can get the same basic watch, I believe, I don't have one, with a black face as a US model for quite a bit less money. I saw them for as low as a little over $200 on Amazon, and if that is the same watch as this, that is a heck of a buy. If you want a heavy duty watch, this watch, the band is thicker than the one I just showed you, definitely much heavier. All of this seems beefed up, heavier. This metal here about the same, but everything a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. Even the piece here, very heavy. But again, it's got the same push pin going through here. Don't let these pieces fool you. It's the same exact push pin, so that's going to be your failure point. But again, a very nice, very heavy duty case. So if you want something heavy with a really beefy bracelet on it for a very affordable price, here you go. And this watch can have supposedly up to a 6-month power reserve. And when you wear it, you move it, it recharges the lithium battery. It's a kinetic movement. So check out my other review on this. So there's an option if you don't want to spend $1,000 plus for this watch. That's an option. But I can tell you right now, this watch is a lot more comfortable. This watch disappears on your wrist. It is just amazing how comfortable this watch is. You don't even know you have it on. It's just gorgeous on the wrist. Now, the one thing, if I wanted to nitpick, the one thing I would nitpick is this piece here tends to tint up a little bit like this? Sometimes. Usually it lays fairly flat, but sometimes you'll see it tenting up a little bit. And then right here, see how this is kind of a sharper, abrupt angle here, this because of the piece. And again, I don't have this quite centered, so it depends on when you size it, what link you take out, and where this ends up. So this doesn't quite lay totally flat sometimes, but I'm nitpicking at that point. It's very comfortable, and that's a fairly minor thing as far as I'm concerned. And again, that's going to vary depending on how it's sized for your wrist. So, so share your comments on this watch and what you think the absolutely best daily wear sport diver's watch is out there today, because I think this is it. I don't think anything else can touch this watch as far as comfort on the wrist, and it looks great. It's easy to read the time. This is the top of the heap at any price. You can't take any Omega, any Rolex, anything and match the comfort of this watch. Even the spring drive Seiko, the super expensive titanium watch that's similar to this, it's thicker. It's not going to ride as comfortable on the wrist, in my opinion. This is a more comfortable watch than that. You can't beat this watch, and I defy you to find a watch that beats this for comfort and everyday wear and just a beautiful all-around watch. Share in your comments your solutions. Thanks.